Okay, this is the recording for the Chapter 5 homework. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share screen. I'm going to do all of this in Lucidchart because it makes sense to do it there. So just took the first three problems in this chapter. I think the concepts in this chapter are good, but I don't necessarily want to spend just a lot of time on supertypes and subtypes. So, okay. So what we've got here is number one, given the following business scenario, create the ERD. Okay, so this company keeps information on employees and their insurance dependents. Each employee has, and then it gives it a few attributes there. And then if an employee is an inspector, then we've got some other attributes that we need. So you can already see that there's a supertype, subtype there with employee and inspector. It says for all employees, social security number and dependent names should be kept. So we know based on that the relationship between employee and dependents that the relationship is between employee and dependents, not between an inspector and dependents. So, okay, so each employee can have many dependents. An employee doesn't have to have a dependent, so we'll say 0 to many. And then on this side, we're only going to keep information in the system about dependents of actual employees. If someone's not an employee, then we don't keep information about dependents. So every dependent is going to relate to one and only one employee. Okay, now we've got the supertype subtype relationship between employee and inspector. So I'll go ahead and stick this down here. And for that, we need that special terminology here. So I'm going to stick a circle in between here, and I'm going to draw an arrow. Well, I'm going to draw a line from here to here. And I'm going to take off, I'm going to do none on both sides of this so that there's not any arrows, because really we don't need arrows when we're doing supertype subtypes. So again, I'm going to do the same thing here, do none. And then, whoops. So it's got a in here. Now, if I were going to specify overlapping or disjoint, I would put that in here. If there's only one subtype, it really doesn't matter, because overlapping and disjoint have to do with telling you if members of the supertype are members of multiple subtypes or just unique subtypes. So really, overlapping and disjoint doesn't make any sense when we only have one subtype. So I'm just going to leave that off. Now, the other thing we need to specify is whether it's partial or complete. So I'm just going to draw a line here. I'm going to grab that line and move it over here underneath. Move this in too. And get rid of the arrow. Okay, so this means partial. 2 lines would have been complete, but this is our ERD. So we've got employee, dependent, and inspector, and then we've got the supertype subtype terminology showing that this is a subtype and that it's partial. So that's it for number 1, fairly straightforward. Okay, so let's save that. We'll call it homework 5-1. Okay. I'll close this one. And now let's create a new ERD for number 2. Okay, number 2 says given the following business scenario, create the ERD using specialization hierarchy. A tiny hospital keeps information on patients in hospital rooms. The system assigns each patient a patient ID number. In addition, the patient's name and date of birth are recorded. Some patients are resident patients who spend at least one night in the hospital. Others are outpatients who are treated and released. Resident patients are assigned a room. Each room is identified by a room number. The system also stores the room type, private or semi-private, and room rate, room fee. Over time, each room will have many patients. Each patient will stay in only one room. Every room must have had a patient, and every resident patient must have a room. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we know we've got patient. Oops. There we go. And we know we've got room. Let's stick this over here. And because of the relationship between patient and room, it really kind of does necessitate a subtype. And so I'm going to go ahead and stick this subtype, call it a resident. Now, this is a discussion I had with a student here, and it was actually a really good discussion. Because of this relationship, it basically says for each room, it can have many patients over time, and each patient has one room, and it's one and only room. And it says each room has at least one patient. So if the relationship is one to many here, then what that means is the foreign key, the primary key of the room entity is going to be a foreign key in the resident entity. And for that reason, this entity needs to be, well, according to our chapter here, that's a reason for making an actual subtype. It's got an attribute that's unique to only this subtype. Now, I wouldn't, and in fact, when I did this originally, I actually did both subtypes, outpatient. But according to those same rules, outpatient probably shouldn't be part of that. So again, before I graded the homework, I hadn't really thought through that part of it, and so if I made a comment on yours that says that you're missing outpatient, just send me an email or something, and I can update that. Because I'd actually take it either way, but according to those rules, outpatient wouldn't be one of the things that we would want as an entity, because it doesn't have any unique information here, any unique attributes. Okay. So these are going to be disjoint if we've got both of these, because someone's either an outpatient or a resident. And so let's go ahead and, whoops, let's go ahead and draw our arrows and go none and none. Draw an arrow over here. None, none. Draw an arrow here. And none and none. Okay, now the other thing is we need to show if it's partial or complete. So I'm just going to draw a line over here, take it away from there, stick it right here. Whoops. Get it too close, it tries to connect. Okay. None and none. I wonder if I can just copy and paste that. Yep. Did I paste one? Huh. Yeah, that's okay. I can just draw another one. Drag it away from there. Stick it right here. And stick this in right here. None and none. Okay. Yeah, it looks a little funny there. I'm not too worried about that, but basically I've got two lines here to show that it's complete rather than partial, and the D in here shows that it's disjoint rather than overlapping. And that's how we would model that one. So save this as number 2. Homework 5, 2. Okay, and now one more. Now we do number 3. So another blank ERD. Okay. Given the following business scenario, create the ERD. Granite Sales Company keeps information on employees and the departments in which they work. For each department, department name, gives some attributes in there. Department can have many employees, and each employee is assigned to only one department. So there gives me my relationship between employees and departments. Now it says employees can be salaried, hourly, or work on contract. So we've got 3 subtypes of employees listed there. It gives some attributes here for all employees, and then it says for hourly, we're going to keep some separate information. And then for salaried employees, it says some are salespeople. So again, it looks like there's another level of specialization there from salaried employees to salespeople who can earn a commission in addition to their base salary. So, and then it gives an example of how that might work. And then lastly, it says for contract employees, the beginning date and the end date of their contracts are stored with the billing rate for their hours. Okay. So we've got the top level, we've got employee, and the department relates to all employees, not just subtypes. So this relationship is going to go up here, and it will go from department to employees. And we know that each employee belongs to exactly one department. Doesn't necessarily tell us if we can have 0 employees or not, so I'm just going to leave that alone and leave it as just many there. But I wouldn't take off if you put either way there. Okay, so now I need to do my subtypes. My subtypes were hourly, salaried, and contract. And then I had one more subtype of salesperson. Okay, now the only thing I have left is to show my supertype subtype relationships here. So this is going to be disjoint because an employee is either hourly, salaried, or contract. So get this line here, make it none and none. Get this line here, make it none and none. This line here. Make it none and none. This line here. Make it none and none. Okay, I'm gonna have another one over here. This one, because it's only one subtype, it really doesn't matter whether it's neither overlapping or disjoint. And I'm going to do none and none. Okay, and then lastly, I need one from here to here, and none and none. Now I need my cross lines to show whether it's complete or partial. This one is complete. So I'm going to stick one over here, stick the other side right here, give it none and none, and then I need another one to show that it's complete. Stick it over here, and the other end over here. Oh, it's trying to connect it to that line. I think that's what happened in the last one. Doesn't have to look perfect, but that's good enough for me. And then lastly, I need a line over here to show that this one is partial. Make it none and none. Okay. And that is the ERD for number 3. So I'll save that. Homework 5, number 3. Okay. And that's all the homework. So, yeah, I hope it. Yeah, I hope that everything worked out well. Let's stop the screen share. Okay. And definitely let me know if you have any questions. You can post in the Q&A discussion or email if you have a specific question about your grade.